guys. You're here again today with me, Jay Savage, and Miss Shannon
Posh
Anderson for another episode of It's Nothing But the Truth podcast. We are here to tell nothing but the truth and not hold anything back. And we are going to start this episode today, talking with Shannon Anderson about some of her past experiences with the sexual industry, and she is here to tell nothing but the truth.
All right, Jocelyn. So I hear that you watched my documentary, Stripper to Striver, and I hear you have some questions.
Your documentary was very interesting. It was very informative. Unfortunately, I've had the first-hand knowledge of being privy to some of the inside of the dark world that you talked about. Mm-hmm. But what really concerned me was when you spoke in your documentary about the princes or the different bigger political people from over in the seas or over in different countries calling for our young women in the U.S. Mm-hmm. to come over and do all types of different sexual acts. And then the biggest part that really captivated me was when you said a lot of them don't even make it back to the U.S. Mm-hmm. And that was very disheartening for me as a mother who has not seen her daughter in almost 6 years physically mm-hmm. in a normal family setting.
Yeah. So the human trafficking, stripping, all that stuff really goes hand in hand. And, you know, I got exposed to a lot of that. I started out stripping in Atlanta, Magic City, when I was about 15. When I got about 23 is when I started going off into men's magazines. And that's when everything shifted.
Wow.
So once I started doing men's magazines, a lot of things opened up, and that's when I started getting the calls.
Wow.
And the calls were from princes, you know, over in Saudi Arabia. You had some in Asia, different places worldwide, and they would call you and want to bring you over for a few months or whatever. And I actually knew women who did it willingly. Mm-hmm. And then they would go there and do a lot of heinous things, you know, at their own will though. Mm-hmm. Okay, at their own will.
Do you really think it was at their own will, or is it they were convinced about money was a primary motive factor mm-hmm. or something man to convince them to go?
No, money was definitely a motivating factor. A lot of women are still doing that. It's not something that's going away. You know, it's the same game, new players. A lot of these Instagram models and stuff like that are still doing the same things, and they're doing it willingly. So not all of the women who are going there are being held against their will. Of course, there is a trade for that.
Right.
But for specifically the women that I knew, they willingly did it, and they would go like every few months and then come back and then go and do it again. So.
And that's one reason why I so believe after I had the situation encounter with situation happening within my family, mm-hmm. is that a lot of young women, not particularly in your case, because I know you have your mom, you have your extended family, mm-hmm. but a lot of these girls these days do not know mm-hmm. that is not the way for success, and that is not measure success. So that is one of the big reasons for my upcoming foundation, Trump Foundation, is mm-hmm. to educate young women mm-hmm. that are leading on that road or have been in that road, been exposed to that road, that it is a better way out.
Oh, absolutely. And that's one of the reasons why we align, right? Mm-hmm. Even being in that world, being in that industry, a lot of girls glamorize it. And they think that it's the thing to do. But I'm like, you have no idea what's going on behind closed doors.
Yeah.
A lot of these women, Instagram models or whatever that you're glamorizing, they're like literally crying themselves to sleep at night. A lot of the women who I knew then, you know, they were popping pills daily. They couldn't look in the mirror. And so, you know, just to be able to be in those environments and then, you know, say, you know what, this is not something that I want to do, change my life around and then raise my own daughters in a different way mm-hmm. is something that was very, very important to me. So that's why I really have a heart for this type of stuff.
Yeah, and that's a big testimony for you. And like I said, none of us are exempt for falling into situations. This is how we choose to make the decision to come out of that situation and be better for our kids and for the next generation, for our upcoming youth.
Oh, absolutely. Once I realized that, this was a very real moment for me. I can remember when my son came home from school and he was like, Mom, it was it was, what do they call it? Like when the parents career day.
Okay.
It was career day.
Oh, yeah.
And he was so excited because his friend came, his mother came and she was a doctor. And he was like, Mom, my friend's mother came and she was a doctor and she talked and it was so awesome. And he doesn't know, but I literally went in my room and cried because I was like, that is something I can never do. I can never go to my kids' school and talk about what I do openly. And so it's just some of those things that started happening in my life, and I knew that it was God. And I would just cry out and be like, man, God, I want something different. I want to change. And I'm so glad that he rescued me from that world because it's a trap. And it's so ironic that your foundation is called Untrapped because the stripping is a trap too.
Right, it really is. And that name, it came from a place where the situation that my daughter was in, but when I really started with the overall picture of everything, it is a trap. And my mission now is to get individuals untrapped from that situation. And even the person that even wrote the initial song of Trapped in the Closet, I believe is truly trapped itself.
And there you have it. I think that that's so interesting. It's so hard. It's just ironic how things come full circle. And a lot of women who are in that world, I don't necessarily think that they know that there's a better way. A lot of times they're looking at the money and they're like, well, if I can go to work and make $1,000 a day, why would I get a job? Or why would I do this? And, just like when I spoke before about how I've seen young girls come through, and I'm so glad that they changed the laws for pimping because I can remember seeing a lot of young girls, 14, 15, 16 years old, having pimps.
And what is the current laws now on pimping in the state of Georgia or just general?
They definitely upped the sentence. So it used to be like a misdemeanor.
Wow.
So now they're doing federal time for pimping.
And I do also know it's no statute of limitation on crimes that were committed when someone was a minor.
Wow. And so that really changed the game because like when I was coming up in the early 90s doing this, it wasn't a big thing. Like if you saw a man pimping a woman, like when you were in the streets or whatever, it was just like, go take that over there. It wasn't a big thing. It was kind of like the norm. And I'm so glad that, they actually took the time to change the laws, actually give them real time and understand that the girls, because the girls used to get penalized and they were like 14. And it's like, people would look at the girl like, well, why doesn't she just leave? And it's just like, now that we're looking back, it's like, because she was a kid.
Right. Yeah. I've heard stories on that. And one particular young lady, won't say her name, but she was arrested and did years in jail. And then finally got out because it was proven that she protected herself from
and she killed one of them. Yeah, they do that too, and then they'll try to penalize the girl again. And it's like, that's terrible.
And I was so happy for her that she got out and rehabilitated. But that's the everyday thing. It's just not an isolated incident. Unfortunately, it's an epidemic in our society.
Absolutely, it's big business. And I'm so glad that we are waking up and we're finally standing up for our girls. No longer are we also victimizing the girls because the girls will come out and then they will get the blame.
Right.
Yeah,
it's a sad situation, and once the girls are over 17 or 18, although the parents know their kids or they know how to raise them or they know the changes that they see, you have a hard time getting the proper help from the authorities because of their age. And that's also something that needs to be changed because a young girl's mind is not fully mature until like 24, 25 years old.
Absolutely.
And even longer if they haven't had the proper parenting, the proper guidance growing up. A lot of girls grew up in the system.
Absolutely.
And they just are lost. So that is one reason for the organizations that I'm involved in and that I support is to help to bring that more to light all around the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if you guys would like to go and check out the documentary, make sure you go to stripper2striver.com or go and follow or just Google Stripper to Striver and it will bring up the documentary. And I really just shed some light on the adult entertainment industry as a whole, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a deep rabbit hole. Once you get in that rabbit hole, keep going deeper and deeper in that rabbit hole. But just see who you are today and how you have survived that today. It's not loss of hope for anybody else out there who might be dealing with the same situation. It's always a decision you can make, and it's always help available that we can guide you to, or you can call the National Abuse Hotline, the Suicide Hotline for resources. And we will be presenting resources as well for you to contact us, and we'll be more than happy to lead you in the right direction. And this is Nothing But the Truth podcast, and want to keep it 100 with you. And we're here to support you every step of the way and provide resources as needed. But thanks again, Shannon. Is there anything else you want to acknowledge about any other future projects or upcoming or career projects you're working on since that transition?
Yeah, so definitely continue to check out the podcast, guys. We will definitely be going into a lot of detail and, you know, giving up support and help. Also, definitely our mentorship, right? Like our circle for our women. So we're very excited about that. So if you're looking for support, accountability, just some guidance, then we definitely would love to welcome you into the Successful Women's Society as well. And that's really it. You know, I'm just excited about the tour we'll be doing with the mentorship and everything.
Yeah,
so,
we're coming for a city review. We're in Atlanta, Georgia, but we will be traveling to multiple cities, and we will be giving out notices on our website that will be announcing soon. Put a link together for that, where you can register and just let us know your thoughts and your suggestions. We would love to hear from you, and we want to just keep it 100 and keep it nothing but the truth.
Nothing but the truth. Make sure you go to successfulwomensociety.com, guys, to check out the mentorship. Talk soon. It's Nothing But the Truth podcast.